Good evening and welcome to the Invictus Racing League for the Realistic Performance Division, the only one that uses the Realistic Cars Performance. We are here for round number 14 at the Australian Grand Prix, and it's going to be good one. We've got 16, potentially 17 drivers joining us tonight, so a good healthy grid for the Realistic Performance. Just a quick run through of the grid order. Just getting up. So the grid order for the sprint race here, Australia. So your 10-lap sprint race. Darrell will start on pole with his Aston Martin, with Sir Spud and Mikey second and third in the Red Bulls. Martin will be fourth in the Alpine, Kent fifth in the Mercedes, Nitrogas sixth in the Ferrari. Ginger Tiger lines up seventh in the Alpine, with Joe Hamster alongside in the Mercedes. Cameron Sir was ninth in the Haas, with what is meant to be Owen in the Williams in 10th, but he's not going to make the sprint race as far as I'm aware. So it'll be MDJ lining up 10th in the Alfa Romeo, Merck 11th in the Alfa Tauri, Atsu 12th in the Aston Martin, with Simon Palmer 13th in the McLaren. Phantom will start 14th in the Ferrari, with Keza in 15th in his McLaren, and Pampoen will be starting at the back of the pack in his Williams racing car. And just make sure everything is working on the stream minute. So we're loading in then to the Australian Grand Prix for the Realistic Performance. Just double checking everything is working on the stream, make sure everyone can hear me. But as I say, this is the Realistic Performance League with the Invictus Racing League in partnership with gridfind.com and Venturi Studios. And I am your commentator solo tonight, JPH99. Unfortunately, Jack unable to join us tonight. Bit of a shame, because always good when Jack is commsing on Realistic Performance, but we're going to load in. Everyone's going to start getting all their setup sorted and things like that. Nice full grid ready for the night to come. In terms of championships, I am led to believe that both championships are now decided. Merck's taking the driver's title. He's on 355 points to MDJ's 248. And himself and Martin look pretty comfortable at the top of the constructors with the Osella team. 545 points plays the bottom gear team of Owen and Cameron on 467. Actually, a good fight here for second place, as they're fighting with AGS, who are on 462. Now, AGS made up of MDJ and Ryan LFC. So that's quite an interesting little fight going on there. But I wonder if we have any weather minions available to tell us about the weather. Good evening, Spud. Good evening, Mikey. Apparently rain near the end. I don't know if that's going to be the sprint race rain near the end or the feature race, but that does sound like it's going to get very interesting. Oh, it's heavy in the sprint, so that's going to... I mean, we could actually have some pit stops by the sounds of that in the sprint race, which is uncommon. Very, very uncommon with a sprint race, so that's going to be interesting. Quite interesting. Spud's had a fairly good season, RP, if I'm not mistaken. He's had some good finishes on the board. Currently lying in 13th in the table, 102 points for him in his Andrea Moda team. It's been quite good that for Spud so far. See, no podiums, fastest laps or anything, but you don't need that. You just need to keep finishing in RP, because especially for the feature race, if you finish in the feature race, you just score points wherever you finish. It's a rather good system. Owen has joined the session, hoping to get in. If he does manage to get in, he'll be starting at the back of the pack. Here we go then. So for the sprint race here in Australia, we have the 5 red lights, and we are racing at Albert Park, and it looks like Daryl's got a good getaway. A lot of people struggling at the rear for grip off the lines. Mikey up into second place. Martin looking down the inside of Sir Spud as we head through turn number 1. We do have a spinner. That's a Ferrari. That's Nitrogash. Meanwhile, they come out of turn 2, and we got still some side by side. We got Kent, who's retired from the race. He must have gone into the wall. Yeah, out of turn 2, so I don't know what's happened. We've got a 4 safety car, and we've got penalties on the board. Merckx and Cameron Searle both have 5 seconds for colliding with each other. Not the best start for those two, as we have a safety car in the first 2 corners of this race. I'm not quite sure what happened to Kent, but it looked very, very crowded going through turn 2. And Kent, unfortunately, in the wall, out of the race. And what this is going to do is going to start to bring that rain coming at the end of the race into effect here. Yeah, a lot earlier in terms of the laps, because obviously when you're under safety car, you're running at a slower pace. Just allows that rain to get in that little bit early. Let's have a look, see what the tyres. We've got a mix of mediums and softs. Daryl on the softs. Let's get through it. Runners on the softs are Daryl, Martin, Ginger Tiger, Simon Palmer, MDJ, Phantom, Keza, Pampoan and Nitrogash. The rest of the field all on mediums. And we have a couple of people in the pits. That's Merckx and Cameron to get rid of their 5-second penalties, I would assume. Coming get some softs on the car. Phantom, a new front wing for him. So he's been caught up in the walls, but it is Daryl who leads the way at the moment in with the Aston Martin. He's got the Red Bull of Mikey behind. Further back, you got Simon Palmer in the McLaren in 7th. MDJ with the Alfa Romeo in 8th. Well, the likes of Cameron, Phantom and Merckx. Merckx actually got out come out behind Phantom, so I can only assume that maybe he had front wing damage along with his 5-second penalty. So he's had to have a change of wing and obviously the change tires with the 5 seconds on top. Not what you're looking for. But under safety car we go. And it is the number 28 in the lead of the race. 14 corners, about 5.3 miles. Miles or kilometres, sorry. About 5.3 kilometres long, this circuit, Albert Park. It's a fantastic little venue. Obviously been had a new layout in the last couple of years. We now have 4 DRS zones around the circuit. One down the main straight, one after turn 2, one after turn 8, which then leads up to turn 9 and 10, and then between 10 and 11 there's also the 4th DRS zone. So lots of opportunities for using that rear wing to overtake those ahead of you. Looks like we're going to get another lap of safety car here. It's only 10 laps this sprint race. We're going to have not gone racing. We've got a bit of movement as MDJ is coming in the pits. Not sure what this is all about. He's changing onto a fresh set of softs. He's going to be at the back of the pack. It's interesting because he's now going to lose track position. He's now lost track position to those ahead of him for a new set of soft compound tyres. So that's an interesting one. I wonder if he thinks that the tyres aren't going to last. Quite an early thing from early call for Bernd Mailander to come on out onto the circuit. 2 corners. It'd be interesting to see what happened later down the line with Kent, because it's not unusual to have a crash at turn 2, but especially when it's that packed off the start line, everyone just jostling around for position. I'm expecting the safety car to be in this lap. And there is the call. So Darrell will now lead the field, pace the field, and it'll be his call as to when they go racing again. Got to be a bit careful because the game will hinder your throttle if you go a little bit too early. Darrell trying to warm up the tyres. Looking behind the Aston Martin. Safety car at the penultimate corner, turn 13. Darrell still waiting. Safety car in the pits. Just rounding turn 12 now. He's pretty much free to go when he wants here. And just see him feathering the throttle. When does he go? When does he go? Out of turn 13. There he goes. He gets the jump. Although Mikey's done a good job to stay within half a second of the Aston Martin. It was a good restart from Darrell. Further back in the field, though, it looks like Sir Spud is under pressure from Ginger Tiger into turn 1. Here comes the Alpine. Thinks better of it. Further back, we've got a Haas. That's Cameron. Looking at the back of Nitrogas. Through 2 they go. And MDJ back in the pits. New front wing required then for the Alfa Romeo. Oh, and that's a Joe Hamster on the grass and very nearly in the wall. Ginger Tiger down the inside of Sir Spud. A bit of contact and out goes Sir Spud. Absolute carnage through turn 5. Atsu gets a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Sir Spud as he was out of control. Virtual safety car is out. No front wing for Ginger Tiger. It's not usually a place you go side by side turn 5. But Ginger Tiger tried it. He was fully down the inside of Sir Spud and just a slight bit of contact. And that looks like the safety car, Bernd Mailander, back out on the circuit. Unfortunately, we have a second retirement in this race. Of Sir Spud in his Red Bull. Bit of a weird incident because Ginger Tiger was up the inside. He was fully alongside Sir Spud, but there was just the tiny, there was a touch of contact, and Fortunately caused all sorts of issues. I'm surprised Atsu's not coming in the pits to serve those 5 seconds of penalty. We got Simon and Pampoen in the pits now. So Spud definitely not happy with what's just happened. And Simon and Pampoen, is it raining? Because Simon and Pampoen have gone on to intermediates, as has Ginger Tiger. But I don't see the rain. I do not see the rain here. They are very much taking a flyer. That's a massive gamble for the back four. Maybe rain due in 5 minutes or so, but right now it looks pretty dry to me. And those soft tyres that Daryl's got on have done about, oh, I don't know, all of about half a lap of racing so far. Drivers going through the 910 chicane. I think we'll get another lap of safety car because the field obviously is not caught up. I think we're going to have at least one more lap of safety car, and it's going to be interesting to see if anyone else decides to pit for intermediates here. Is anyone else going to try and chance predicting the weather and when it will come in? No, we got Keza coming in now. Cameron Searle in the pits. He should come out ahead of MDJ. It's going to be Inters for the McLaren. It's going to be Inters for the Haas. Merck's coming in. It's going to be Inters for the AlphaTauri. We have half the grid on intermediate tyres then for the second half of this race. Again, I can only assume it's because they've been told the rain is due in about 5 minutes' time, that they're going for the gamble here of the rain coming. Remember, in this league, they run approximate weather forecast. It is not perfect. So the rain might come. It might come earlier, it might come on time, it might not arrive. And this is now what the top 7 are looking for, is that this rain does not arrive. I'd say if the safety car comes in this lap, all of the slick tyre runners are going to get at least a lap, 2 laps of running here to build their gaps, because those intermediate tyres are not going to be nice on this dry surface. Spud saying lap 8 is when the rain is due to come. But once again, Daryl at the head of the field. He's going to control this pace now. Look at the field behind. He's got 6 cars behind on slicks, 7 of them on intermediates, and Atsu has a 5-second penalty. When does the Aston go? That's the big question. He goes early this time on turn 12, and it's a good launch. 7/10 of a second heading into the penultimate corner, 8/10 on the way out. Mikey's done well here though to get that gap back down to about 0.6 of a second. Further back, oh, we got the 2 Ferraris having a pop at each other. Phantom looking to the inside of Nitrogash. They're not actually teammates, they're just in the same car. And look at the gap, already 1.7 to Simon Palmer between him and Phantom. Although I did just see a drop of rain, I think. Yes, I can see drops of rain. These slick runners need to get up off the road whilst they have the chance. They do not need to be fighting with each other. Joe Hamster and Atsu together on the circuit. Joe Hamster in 4th in that Mercedes-Benz. Very similar performing cars, the Mercedes and the Aston. Aston just a slight bit quicker in performance. Phantom again looking at the back of Nitro, but not really doing a lot there. Meanwhile, Cameron Searle gets past Keza as they head into the 910 chicane. They've got to be so careful on these intermediates. They're going to be overheating ever so slightly at the moment. Although that rain is starting to come down. But Simon is still losing time here to Phantom. That is the key gap there, is Simon to Phantom. Darrell will go on to lap number 8. And, oh, collision! Keza and Cameron. Keza just completely outbraking himself. Keza goes into the pits. No one. Cameron's going to spin. Just trying to get going again. But that's really hindered Cameron there, because Keza just lost it, completely missed the braking point and went into the back end of the Haas. Meanwhile, Pampone under attack from the Alpine of Ginger. This is for 9th place. That gap between Simon has Mercked is around the outside of MDJ. That's a great move through the car park at turn 4. And further up, we've got Phantom. Oh! Nitrogash is now out of this race. So I had to say, we got Phantom looking to go past Nitro, and next thing you know, Nitro's in the wall. Nitro won't be too happy with that one. Meanwhile, Mikey, oh, there's a bit of a slide for Darrell. Mikey's got a chance here. Mikey currently running in 2nd place. Those medium tyres, I mean, they haven't had a lot of running, but they should be a little bit better, and you can just see the slick tyres now starting to struggle. They got 2 laps to survive. Simon Palmer. DRS is enabled, so race control happy that is dry enough. Mikey looks to the inside, thinks better of it. He's going to have DRS, though not now. Oh, as Darrell runs wide onto the apron. Here comes Mikey. Down to turn 3, and the Red Bull takes the lead. Darrell just all of a sudden struggling with those tyres. I wonder if they're just a little bit cooked at the moment. Pampone going backwards. He's been overtaken by Ginger, Merck and MDJ. So a quick look at what's going on there. MDJ down the inside. Merck looking to go around the outside of Ginger Tiger. He does so before turn 4. And MDJ down the inside. Pampone losing the rear end. I don't think it's wet enough for these intermediates right now. Simon Palmer only just now starting to take time out of Phantom. Meanwhile, SFR Martin gets past Darrell. Darrell really struggling with that Aston Martin right now. There's a big slide through turn 10. Atsu goes through. So Atsu up into 3rd place. Yeah, Darrell really struggling now. Can Mikey hold on to this lead? Three different tiers. Oh, and a bit of a collision between Martin and Mikey. Martin just a little bit later on the brakes, just runs into the back of the Red Bull, but it's all good because they're still going. Mikey has a 1-second gap going on to the final lap of the sprint race. Atsu right behind the Alpine. The rain is starting to come down, but I don't think it's really, it's that sort of rain that isn't quite affecting the grip yet of these slick tyres, even though you can actually see it on the track now, which is incredible stuff. Atsu looking to the outside of SFR Martin for 2nd here in the sprint race. Nitro very much unhappy with Phantom. And Mikey a 2nd up the road. He's holding his own here. Atsu all over the back of this Alpine. I think these soft tyres are starting to cry. And there goes the Aston Martin. And here comes Darrell trying to follow suit. Martin without any DRS. Should be really a sitting duck here as... Oh, Darrell has a look around the outside, thinks better of it. Martin on the outside of Atsu through 9 through 10. Can Darrell hold it around the outside? Gets on the curb, not what you're looking to do. Down to turn 11 we go, and Darrell still stuck behind that Alpine. Remember, Atsu also has that 5-second penalty to be applied as well. Meanwhile, at the front, Mikey RK13 out of nowhere. He's going to come and he's going to win the sprint race here in Australia. He'll start on pole position for the main feature race. It's going to be Martin second, Daryl third, Joe Hamster fourth, Phantom fifth. Atsu will finish sixth now after penalties. Simon Palmer finishes in seventh, Mercked eighth, MDJ ninth, Ginger Tiger 10th, Pampo in 11th, Cameron Searle will come home in 12th. And Keza will take 13th place in his McLaren. Those intermediates were just not working there. So Mikey RK13 picks up his sprint win here in Australia. Phantom picking up the sprint driver of the day. Apparently Kent tapped the wall and it threw half his car into the river. But the sprint race results, Mikey RK13 takes the win, will start on pole position. Martin will be second with Daryl and Joe Hamster on row 2. Row 3 will be Phantom and Atsu. Row 4, Simon Palmer, Mercked. Row 5, MDJ, Ginger Tiger. Row 6, Pampoen and Cameron Searle. Row 7, Keza, Nitrogash. And row 8 will be Sir Spud and Kent. Few drivers. A few discussions. It looks pretty dry here for the feature race. Lee Harding rooting there for Mikey after he just won the sprint race, as is Sir Spud. Mikey obviously very happy. Dry race. Says weather minion Sir Spud. He'll have a little bit more work than he anticipated to do here in the feature race. Apparently, Ginger tried squeezing through and he hit the curb and kind of made him understeer into Sir Spud. Mikey's saying that you can say that he's won a race now, although it's not a Grand Prix. It's his. He has a sprint race victory to his name. It's a certain stepping stone, that I think, for Mikey. As we head into the feature race, I mean, if he can stay there and win the feature race, he'll have a sprint and a Grand Prix to his name. But it would be interesting to see. I think a lot of that race was decided on the tyres. The fact that the intermediates just didn't seem to work, even though it was raining. The inters never came into play. And the key thing there is obviously the top 8 in the sprint score the points 8-1 point system there. Obviously the feature race very different compared to the equal performance leagues, due to the fact that if you finish you score at least a point. So that's the key with this race, is stay out of trouble, just get to the end and pick up the points. Obviously it's always nice to get the high end points, but ultimately just scoring points is all about finishing in this league. It really does reward those who manage to stay out of trouble. Apparently Owen should be in. I'm not quite sure what car it's put him in. He was due to be in the Williams, but if he gets put into an Alfa Romeo or Alfa Tauri, he will be allowed to race because they are performance-wise slower than the Williams he was due to be driving. Looks like an Alfa Romeo, so Owen is in. We have the 5 red lights and we are green for the Australian Grand Prix at RP. 17 drivers take to the start line, and it's going to be Mike who gets a good getaway at the moment, but Martin is down the inside. Does he know? Mikey will keep hold, and it looks like we've got a few drivers a little bit wide, and hopefully no carnage to turn 2. Looks like we're safely through. A few moves being made at the back as we head into turn 3. And it looks like Joe Hamster into 4th place. Pampoen has disconnected by the looks of it. Through turn 5, MDJ getting past Ginger Tiger. That is for 9th place, but Mikey leads the way after a good start by him. Atsu under pressure from MDJ in the Alfa Romeo. So we head up through 8, and here comes Martin. This is for 2nd place. The Alpine back into 2nd as we head into the 910 chicane. Cameron Searle, Nitro Gash, side by side through the 910 chicane. Good racing by them. Cameron Searle does get past, but here comes Keza and Owen. Meanwhile, for the lead, Mikey's lost out. I think he went a bit wide through turn 11. He's lost the lead, lost 2nd. He's had a massive tank slapper coming down towards the penultimate corner. 3 wide. And Mikey doing the absolute best thing there, just backing out, just getting himself slotted back into the line. And 6th place for the early leader. Martin leads the first lap from Darrell. Simon Palmer is in 3rd. Joe Hamster 4th. Merckx is in 5th. Mikey 6th. Phantom in 7th. Phantom all over the gearbox of the Red Bull though as we head down towards turn number 3 for the 2nd time. Let's get some tyres up. We got a mixture of tyres. Some have gone soft, some have gone hard, some have gone medium. Real rainbow of tyres there. Owen and Cameron Searle. Oh, that's Owen into the wall. Front wing lost. And I believe a virtual safety car has been called due to the debris that Owen has left at turn 5. Turn 5 claims yet another victim here. There's your strategies. Medium, a 1-stop medium to hard. You can have a 2-stop, medium and 2 softs. There's Owen almost finding the wall on the virtual safety car. He's got to hope here that this virtual safety car stays here so that he can get in the pits, get that wing change, come out still under virtual safety car so that he doesn't lose too much time. I'm not surprised Mikey went a little bit backwards at the start there. He's on the hard compound tyres compared to those around, and Merckx is well merked. And we are back to green flag racing. So Owen's got very unlucky there as Kent looks like he's managed to get the jump on Nitrogash. Meanwhile, action everywhere. Simon Palmer down the inside of Darrell. Darrell fighting this one through 4 up towards 5. I think he's going to have to give way on this one. Yes, he does. Soft tyres for Simon Palmer. Means he's going to have a little bit more grip at this stage of the race. Owen comes back out onto the circuit. He is going to be 21.5 seconds behind Pampoen, who's not actually in the car. Meanwhile, Joe Hamster now. 2 tier 3 drivers here, and Darrell and Joe Hamster. Phantom has got past Mikey on the outside on the entry to the 910 chicane. And Atsu and MDJ. Atsu's gone a little bit wide out of 10, and that's allowed Ginger Tiger pass as well. And Ginger Tiger having a look. Bit of contact with MDJ coming down towards turn 11. MDJ goes down the inside of Mikey in the Red Bull. Just can't quite complete the move. Too tight an angle as Kent and Nitrogash are also having a bit of a fight. Nitrogash losing that one out. Merckx on the back of I was going to say Joe Hamster, but Darrell looks like he's had a bit of a wiggle coming out of the final corner. And that has allowed Merck through as well. And Simon Palmer with that DRS claims the lead in that McLaren. Question is now, and this was a big thing in Tier 1. Now it's all about breaking this DRS to Martin, because if Martin stays in DRS, it seems quite easy for them to stay within that second. Meanwhile, it looks like Kent and Nitric Ash are in a right old battle here. Constantly swapping positions side by side through turn 4. Just about enough room given. And Nitric Ash will retake 13th away from the Mercedes of Kent. Meanwhile, Atsu all over the back of Ginger Tiger. And it looks like Mikey being overtaken now by MDJ. And also Phantom almost letting MDJ go there. Keza now with a 3-second time penalty, same as Darrell. And here comes Ginger's running to the back of Phantom. That's taken off an end plate from the Alpine driver, and that means he's going to suffer through the corners. And Kent and Nitro still fighting out for 13th place. It's all points here. Atsu's ended up on the grass. Ginger Tiger coming into the pits. So Palmer sets fastest lap. He's now 1.3 seconds ahead of Martin. And pretty easy overtake for MDJ under the DRS zone down to turn number 1. Meanwhile, Joe Hamster now gets past Martin. And this is going to be an interesting little fight to keep an eye on. Marked on those hard tyres, he'll be looking for a one-stop. Ginger Tiger is out ahead of Owen. Martin just doesn't look like he's quite got the pace here of Joe, but he's managing to keep Merck behind us, courtesy of that DRS. Meanwhile, Cameron Searle down the inside before turn 9. The Haas goes through. But will the Aston Martin be able to come back? No, the answer is no. Down into turn 11. Back near the front, Joe Hamster still second place. And Martin under pressure from the AlphaTauri of Merck. And that does look like someone pulling out further behind. Phantom looking to go down the inside of Darrell, thinks better of it. Phantom now picks up 3 seconds going wide there through turn 1 and 2. Merck down the inside, almost outbrakes himself. That's going to allow Martin to have a slight run into 4. No, not quite. Late on the brakes from Merck. I thought he was going to outbrake himself and go into the back of Joe, but he managed to keep it there. When Ginger Tiger back in the pits, I'm going to guess then that it didn't change his front wing for him. Oh, Mikey's going to come under threat here from Cameron Searle. I say that as he's picking up speed against Phantom. Darrell ahead, almost running into the back of NDJ as he goes through. Cameron Searle with a little bit of a bunny hop over the curb. On board with the Red Bull then of Mikey, down towards turn 11. He looks to the outside. Can't quite do it, or can't quite get the switch either. To 12, up to 13. Good little battle being produced here between these 4. 3 different tiers represented here in this fight for 5th. Got MDJ from tier 1, Darrell from tier 3, Phantom from... Oh, Mikey has a massive moment coming through too. Big moment, just about saves the car. And he's got the tier 2 of Cameron Searle behind him, so this train behind MDJ is just ever growing by the looks of it. Every tier represented from the Eco Performance. Through turns 6 and 7 they go. Mikey just hanging on at the moment. Obviously, with those hard tyres, he's going to look for this race to come back to him during this first stint, and it looks like he's running out of ERS, as is the Ferrari. Oh my word, that's interesting. Cameron Searle was all over the grass trying to overtake Mikey on the inside. He's gone round. I think amazingly he's got no damage. After that big spin, that's not a place you want to be regenerating your car. Meanwhile, Phantom down the inside of Daryl. Turn 11 has a bit of a slide. He's going to get that move done, and here comes Mikey down the inside. Thinks better of it. Well, I say that. Daryl runs a little bit wide, and the Red Bull able to stay alongside into the hairpin of turn 13. Mikey keeps alongside. He should be able to claim this now, as Daryl runs a bit wide, gets the back end out. He gets 3 seconds for his troubles as well. Loses a place, takes 3 seconds. Daryl down to 9th place now. Meanwhile, Joe Hamster doing a nice job keeping Merckx a sensible distance behind him. Cameron Searle right on the back of the Ferrari though of Nitrogash as he looks to recover from that spin. A monumental spin for him. Haas versus Ferrari. Atsu though has DRS on Mikey, will go down the inside and completes the move for 7th. Daryl looking to follow suit, looks to the inside, thinks better of it, backs out of it. And it's the only problem when you have a little look like that, like Daryl did, you lose time because you back out of it and all of a sudden you've also completely lost your line for the next couple of corners. Cameron Searle has got past Nitrogash in that DRS, and we got Kent out of the race. And a safety car. He's lost it coming out of the 910 chicane. He's lost it out of 10 and into the right-hand wall, and Bernd Mailander has been called. And we have pit stops are happening. MDJ, Atsu, Keza, Cameron Searle, Nitrogash, all in the pits. This will be good news for Owen. Owen might dive in the pits here, get a different set of tyres. Yes, he does. So Spud's jumped up to 10th. And everyone now will stack up behind the Mercedes safety car. Good evening if you have just joined us. This is the Invictus Racing League Realistic Performance League in partnership with gridfinder.com and Venturi Studios. We've just had the first safety car of the feature race, the third one of the night. We had 2 in the sprint race. It is lap 9. Ginger Tiger running wildly out of position. He's come into the pits and he's going to have to hope he's got enough time here to get into the pit, get out in front of the safety car, and then recatch the pack. Simon Palmer leading the way on his soft compound of tyres. Not through the field. There's Owen. He's just coming through 910. Safety car coming through the penultimate corner, and Ginger Tiger's just come out now on a set of hard tyres. He'll be looking to go to the end of this race. It's a long way, but it is doable. And we have other people in the pits now. We have that is Simon Palmer. As everyone, we have Merckx, Simon Palmer, Martin, and Phantom all in the pits now, looking for a cheaper pit stop. Merckx going on to the medium tyres. So the people who have not pitted yet in this race: Joe Hamster, Mikey, Daryl, and Sir Spud. They have all yet to pit. They're all Stacked up behind at the moment. Where's Ginger Tiger? He's just coming out through the last corner now. The safety car going through sector 2. He might get another lap of safety car here just to see if we can get Ginger Tiger to the back of the pack. No, this is where the pack are. Just heading up towards turn 11 now. Safety car not yet been called in. And Joe Hamster almost looking like he wants the safety car to get on with it here. I think after all this, MDJ is the person in the net lead of this race. From Atsu, and then Cameron Searle. So Ginger Tiger will manage to make it to the back of the pack because we're going to have another lap of safety car, and he's just coming through turn 12. Let's have a look at the positions changed. Joe Hamster has gone up 3 places. Mikey's gone down 1. Daryl has stayed the same. MDJ up 5. Atsu up 1. Sir Spud up 9 places so far, but I believe he does still have to pit. Cameron Searle up 5. Nitro up 6. Keza up 7. Owen up... Keza up 4. Owen up 7. Obviously Owen started at the back of the pack for this race. Merck's down 3, Simon Palmer down 5, Martin currently down 11, Phantom down 9, Pampoan down 4, Ginger Tiger down 6. That's the number of stops for everyone. Ginger Tiger has had 4 stops in this race so far. 2 stops for Owen, 1 stop for MDJ, Atsu, Cameron, Nitro, Keza, Mert, Simon, Martin, Phantom, Pampoan. He is not in his car at the moment, so he will not be classified. But the safety car is in this lap. Joe Hamster is leading the pack now. Not quite sure what's happening between Atsu and Sir Spud, but slight changing of things there. Looking behind from the Mercedes then as we await to go back to green. When does Joe go? We've seen starts from the exit of turn 12 where we are now, to the exit of turn 13, to the exit of turn 14. Also in between 13 and 14. Not going to quite go yet, not quite going to go yet. Still waiting for Joe. And he's still waiting to drop the hammer. Now he does, and he's going to catch Mikey napping a little bit. Although Mikey's responded well, still 4.5 tenths behind as we head down towards turn 1. People behind looking to prepare moves into turn 1 we go. Keza side by side with Owen, a little bit of contact, but Keza gets through. Up into 9th place, meanwhile. Moves all around. Mike 3 wide down towards turn 3. NDJ gets up into 3rd place, up into 2nd place, make that. He goes around the outside of Darryl through turn 4. Sensational stuff from the Alfa Romeo. Good driving from everyone to keep it all clean. Look at that massive cars coming through turn 5. Cameron Searle passed Mikey into 5th. We got Merckx and Sir Spud being side by side. There's a car off. That's Sir Spud. He's gone wide through turn 6. Owen, he's going past the Red Bull now, as is Keza. Well, Cameron and Darryl side by side up towards turn number 9. The 2 Astons now looking to go at each other, but think better of it. Keza gets past Mikey now himself. Joe Hamster picks up a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Atsu, he's going to get past his teammate, but Owen looking for the double move on the Aston Martins up into 4th place for Owen. That's a good move by him. And look at that front. We've got MDJ right on the back of Joe Hamster. Fresh tyres to Joe Hamster's 11-lap old tyres. We've got more moves. Keza gets past Daryl. Daryl in the pits. Mikey has unfortunately really gone backwards here as MDJ gets past Joe Hamster, and a bit of a twitch from Joe through 2. That's going to see Cameron have a good run down towards turn 3. Don't think there's going to be a lot that Joe can do with this one, though. He is still trying to defend it down the inside. Very close racing, but all fair game. Cameron up into second place, and it'll be Owen next on the target list for Joe Hamster to defend against. With those fresher tyres really coming into their own as everything starts to somewhat settle down. I say that as Mikey now with Simon Palmer looking to come past him as Cameron Searle's actually, I apologise, MDJ's lost the lead to Cameron Searle. Meanwhile, Ginger Tiger's now got past Phantom. Simon Palmer did get past Mikey in the end. A lot of action on these first few laps after the safety car. We got Martin now picks up 3 seconds for track limits. Here comes Ginger Tiger to the inside of Mikey down towards turn 11. We'll get that move done, and Joe Hamster's gone off. Joe Hamster in the wall. Oh, and that's not a place you want to be parked. Safety car is out once again. And you feel Mikey has to come in the pits here. Yes, he does. He was getting absolutely swamped. Phantom doing all a little bit weird there. You got a fair few people in the pits. Keza coming back in the pits. Get off his soft tires, get onto the hards. Atsu, Keza, Simon Palmer, Mikey, Joe Hamster, Pampoen's AI. All in the pits. And that safety car caused, unfortunately, by Joe Hamster. Looks like he'd gone off through turn 11. Just on the exit. Unfortunately then spun at turn 12. Unfortunately was parked in a dangerous location. Enough to bring out Bernd Mailander and his red Mercedes once again. For the second time in the feature race, the fourth time in the night, we have the safety car on circuit. Only one retirement so far, that is the Mercedes of Kent. On lap number 8, he crashed coming out of turn 10, this little complex here, this little fast chicane. Not quite sure what Daryl's thinking here. He's gone onto this soft tyres, so maybe thinking there's going to be at least one more safety car the way this is going. And I've just noticed Cameron Searle does not possess a front wing. And I am wondering if he's lost that by hitting the safety car. That has me a little bit on the confused side, because he's not coming into the pits for a new front wing unless that occurred. The only thing I can think of is if that occurred as part of the Joe incident, but Kezenel picks up a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Atsu under the safety car. Right, this is really all kicking off now. As we go under the next lap of safety car here, Joe Hamster back in the pits. Or is he strapped on a set of 13-lap-old medium tyres? Something's not going right in the Mercedes pit lane, and Joe's actually spun it coming out of the pits. So, not quite sure what's going on there. But currently, MDJ leads this race now from Owen. The two Alfa Romeos, they are not teammates. Mercked currently now in third. After all of this, Nitrogash is 4th, Ginger Tiger 5th, Phantom 6th, Atsu Martin is 7th, Atsu 8th, Keza 9th, Simon Palmer in 10th. They are teammates. Mikey is in 11th with Pampoan in AI in 12th. Sir Spud 13th, Daryl 14th, Cameron Searle now down to 15th. Joe Hamster is in 16th. And the question is, are we going to get the safety car in this lap? It has been known to be called around turn 12 sometimes. Yes, it is coming in this lap. That's a very late call. And MDJ, he hasn't got really a lot of time to really prep this, but he's going to go as late as he dares. There he goes, an MDJ, and Keswick coming into the pits, possibly for front wing damage. Joe Hamster back in the pits as we head into turn number 1. Phantom gets 3 seconds of time penalty for track limits. Taking them a little bit too far. As him and Martin going side by side through turn 3 we go. Phantom looking to keep out the inside for 4. And kind of runs Martin out of room there. As here comes Atsu. This is a dangerous point of the circuit. Martin picks up 3 seconds of penalty, and that's a bit harsh because he didn't really have anywhere to go. Simon Palmer gets past Atsu in the background. That's for 8th place. The McLaren looking to make gains here early on. Meanwhile, up the front, we have Mercked on the back of Owen, who's on the back of MDJ. Cameron Searle gets past Mikey. Whilst it is good to see those sorts of fights up at the front, it's covered by very, very little. Keza picks up 3 seconds for time for track infringements. And lots of these being dished out today. Darryl gets past Sir Spud. That's coming down towards turn 11. These guys at the front just settling out just a little bit. Oh, his own runs a little bit deep. That could open the door for Mercked on the exit of the final corner. Simon Palmer gets past. I say gets past. They're going to be side by side. One. Cameron Searle getting a little bit twitchy coming through the last corner. Simon Palmer still there though as they head down towards turn number 1. So I thought Mercked was going to make a move then, but back to this little battle for 8th place. Cameron Searle now picks up 3 seconds for track infringements, and Palmer gets through into 8th place. Cameron Searle isn't finished, goes round the outside, turn 11. Keza has retired in the pit lane. Phantom's picked up another 3 seconds in the space of a lap. He is very much abusing these limits that we have around the Australian Grand Prix. Cameron Searle still can't get past Simon Palmer and his McLaren. Meanwhile, up at front, Owen has taken the lead from MDJ. Cameron Searle is now alongside. Can he finally get past? So he is through the 910 chicane. Oh, big twitch. Little bit of contact, but that might have just saved Cameron. It's going to allow Atsu through, though. Mikey munching on some popcorn behind as he watches these three battle. Oh, a bit of contact once again between Atsu and Cameron. Mikey looking to go down the inside. And I think a little bit more contact ensuing as now Darryl gets past the Haas. So a horrid section of the circuit for Cameron Searle. Looking to take 8th place and is now running in 12th. Back at the front. DRS is enabled, but it won't be available until that third zone. Joe Hamster picking up fastest lap of the race so far. There's Martin and Palmer side by side. A bit of a twitch from mine. That's going to allow Simon Palmer through. Seventh then for the McLaren. He's still trying to make his way back through this pack. It looks like Atsu is having a look at the Alpine as well, but back at the front because MDJ with DRS gets past Owen. Ginger Tiger will get past Nitric Ash. They are teammates. They are probably working together just a little bit. But here comes Mert. Oh, he does have a little look to the inside of MDJ, but thinks better of it upon the corner entry. Darryl gets past Mikey. That's in fact, actually, Cameron Searle gets past Mikey as well. I think Darryl started that by going down the inside. Oh, a still a bit of a dummy from the Haas of Cameron Searle, and Darrell thinks he's going for rally crossing as Merck's pretty easy move with the DRS on Owen there. So Owen now back down to 3rd place. Merck taking the lead into turn 3. Phantom and Nitro Gas going side by side. Simon Palmer still fighting with Martin. Still at the front though. MDJ chasing down Merck. Looks like Atsu isn't far off of attacking the likes of Martin, and it looks like Phantom on the back of Ginger Tiger. He's going to have the DRS. Well, Merck was close. It's not quite close enough. Phantom looking to go around the outside. This could end in tears, and it has done. Phantom out of the race. He looked for a move at a corner that you just don't normally make moves, especially ones like that. He has now exited this race. I don't know if Ginger Tiger now possesses rear wing damage, because he did hit that wall pretty hard. Safety car is out. I'm expecting some pit stops. Yes, everyone coming in by the looks of it. Unfortunately, Owen's going to get bulked in the pits. Martin has decided he wants to stay out on those hard tyres. Everyone else looks like they are going to be going. Mikey staying out on the mediums. Those behind going to the soft compound of tyre. Yeah, I was going to say, Darrell's won't be 5 laps old. Joe Hamster coming through on his set of heated up red mark tyres. So we take another break. This is now the 3rd safety car of the feature race, 5th of the night. This one caused by an incident between Ginger Tiger and Phantom, the retirement of Phantom being the end result. Potential rear wing damage for Ginger Tiger. Unfortunately, it was just one of those moves from Phantom where you can pull that move off through 9 and 10, but you have to be absolutely front axle to front axle. Otherwise, you just risk colliding. Especially if you have to hit the curb on the inside, because the curb unsettles the car, and it just makes it understeer or just tweak outwards, and colliding. If that happens, a collision is almost inevitable in that situation. We're down to 14 runners of the 17. If you have just joined us, this is the Invictus Racing League Realistic Performance League in partnership with gridfinder.com and Venturi Studios. We are on lap 21. Martin is your leader from Mikey in 2nd. However, those two are on older tyres. Martin, 11 lap old hards. Mikey, 7 lap old mediums. Everyone else came in the pits under the safety car for a set of soft tyres, other than Joe, who's already on a set of soft tyres. His tyres are 5 laps old. Pampoen is an AI, so he is not counting in this order. You see the effect as well that it had on Owen, because Owen and MDJ, they're not teammates in this series. Owen's teammate is Cameron, but obviously because MDJ is also in the Alfa Romeo, Owen would have got kind of delayed in his pits because of waiting for MDJ's car to be serviced. Safety car in this lap then. Of 8 laps of racing remaining in this feature race. Now Martin controls this pace. Has to decide when he gets going. So here comes Martin. He goes out of the final corner. Gets not really a jump on Mikey. Mikey actually closes in a little bit, but he's going to have Merc behind him. Down towards turn 1 for the 22nd time in this race. You can see there Owen all over the back of Joe Hamster. But further up, it looks like Merc's making a move on Mikey. To the outside of turn 3, just see the collision between Mike and MDJ. MDJ in the wall and out of this race, and we have a 4th safety car of the evening. Of the feature race. MDJ looking to sneak one down the inside. And colliding with the Red Bull. I'm sure you will not be happy about that. So the car's rounding. Martin comes in the pits. I was kind of semi-expecting Mike to come in the pits, but he's maybe thinking just go to the end on this set of tyres. So under safety car for the 4th time in this race, the 6th time of the night. Merc now in the lead of the race. Nitrogash in 2nd. Martin did pit for new soft tyres, as did Sir Spud. I'm not going to say for definite that we're going to go around for another lap of safety car here, because as we've seen before, just tonight the safety car can be called in pretty late. Hopefully we'll get back to racing very shortly. Looks like we are going to have a second lap of safety car here. So we can should be resume racing on lap 25 then, giving us 5 laps of racing. Have to feel, I mean, Nitrogash, I mean, you have to just talk about him. He's done very well here from the back of the pack. He's up 12 places from 14th to 2nd. Owen up 13 from 17th to 4th. Let's have a look at these penalties. Fountain did collect quite a lot before he retired. Joe Hamster has 3, Cameron Searle has 3, Darrell has 6, and Martin also has 6. The only person now out on what I'd consider to be old tyres is Mikey. 10 lap old medium tyres. He's looking to defend that position now to the end of the race. Safety car in at the end of this lap. On board with Merckx, looking behind to Nitrogash. As we look to go for the 4th restart of the feature race here at Albert Park Circuit. Nice and steady control here from Merckx. We go through turn 12. The safety car is in the pit lane. When does the AlphaTauri want to go? It's not yet. Still waiting. I'm expecting maybe in the middle of the last corner. Yes, there it is. It is a good launch, but again, Nitrogash has done well to stick with him. Mikey's done well to stick with Nitrogash as well. We're all going to go down towards turn 1, pretty much line astern. Out of turn 2 and Owen all over the back of Mikey. He's going to have the inside for turn 3. Joe Hamster is side by side with Simon Palmer. Simon Palmer looking around the outside. Has the inside bit of contact, wheel to wheel. Oh, Joe's in the wall. Atsu's also out. Surely we're not going to have another safety car here, but it looks like Atsu got caught up in that. Ginger Tiger now has a 3-second time penalty. We're down to what is effectively 10 drivers left in this race. There's a little bit of contact between Simon and Joe, which put Joe kind of off circuit. Looks like Joe went to get the power back on and just lit the rears up, sent him back across the circuit. I think Atsu, an innocent bystander and all that, tagged Joe. And that made either that or Atsu just caught the back end of Joe and it's ripped his front wheel off. Joe's wheels come off. It's absolute carnage here in RP. Oh, Mikey has a big slide coming out of the hairpin. Merckx sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1:20.116. Simon Palmer to the inside of Mikey at turn 1. Looks pretty normal to me. Mikey doesn't really have a lot to defend with here with those 12-lap-old medium tyres. Ginger Tiger in the pits. And there goes Cameron Searle. Continue on this race. Merckx now a second ahead of Nitrogash. Owen will be looking to get onto the back of Nitro, get past him as soon as possible. Martin on the back of Darrell going through the 9-10 chicane. Darrell has 3. Oh, Darrell has a bit of a twitch coming out of 10. That's going to give Martin the run. Martin gets through. Up into 7th then for the Acela driver. Owen, DRS now enabled. Remember, they will not have it until after turn 8. That's in sector 2. Because the detection point for the first 2 zones is before the penultimate corner. Merckx making use of... As Darrell picks up 3 more seconds. Merck making use of this restart here. He's 1.5 up the road. Now Owen should have him. DRS open to the inside. I don't think Nitro is going to fight this one too much. He knows this isn't really his fight. He just wants to get onto this podium here. But Simon Palmer is closing. Oh, Nitrogash. What's happened to Nitrogash? He's in the wall at the exit of turn 10. He's done what Ken's done. So now Simon Palmer inherits 3rd place. We're down to 9. This has been a battle of attrition at the Australian Grand Prix for realistic performance. Mikey currently sat in 6th place, but with penalties ahead of him, could be on for a higher position. Cameron saw 3 seconds, so he's out of range from Mikey at the moment. But Esteban Martin has 6 seconds worth of penalties here. So a top 5 potentially on the cards there for Mikey. Owen looking just to get back within a second of Merckx here. To get within DRS, maybe try and close him down for a last lap showdown between the two. I'll tell you what, I think he's within a second, but I don't think he was within a second early enough. No, he was not. So Owen's going to have to really work his magic here through this final sector. Turns 11 and 12 have to be nigh on perfect from the Alfa Romeo driver. So the bottom gear driver, I should say. I don't think, no, he's not within DRS. He's going to have to work very hard here. I'm not sure. I get the feeling Merck probably has. Oh, big snap for Owen coming through the final corner. Lucky not to collide with the wall. I'll tell you what, Martin is within range here of Cameron Searle. Cameron Searle's tyres are 9 laps old compared to Martin's 6. And if these two have a bit of a fight, could bring Cameron back into Mikey's sort of area of gaining places. And Martin's picked up another set of 3 seconds for track limits. And that's up to 9, I think, for the Alpine driver. And he's 8.5 tenths behind Cameron. He's got to be looking basically to use Cameron as a bit of a DRS tow hook to try and get him as far up as he can. I mean, I don't quite know where 9 seconds puts him right now. 3. It's a lot. And I think that's Darrell has had a bit of a spin, but we go back to the front because he's driven very well, has Merckx. He's stayed out of trouble, got the strategy correct, and it is going to be Merckx who takes the win at the Australian Grand Prix from Owen. Simon Palmer, I think he's run out of... Has he run out of fuel, or is he just being a bit of a pain? I think he's been a bit of a pain. There's Simon there. 3rd place for Simon, 4th place for Cameron Searle. Mikey will cross the line and take 5th. It'll be Esteban Martin 6th. Sir Spud will take a top 7. That's a fantastic result for Spud, especially after starting at the back. Darrell will come home in 8th. Ginger Tiger will be the final man to finish. He will be in 9th place and will have pole position for the race, for the finale of Realistic Performance League at Japan. Owen takes driver of the day, and I don't think anyone can stop that decision being changed. From last to second was a great drive from Owen. I've just spotted Simon's just come into the pie. We'll come to Simon very, very shortly. as we have a look at the podium celebrations. Malc taking yet another trophy home with him. He's basically had the AlphaTauri all through this season, and he's done incredibly well with it. Alongside Owen, it's good to see Owen on the podium again. And Simon Palmer, kind of helped by Nitric Ash, unfortunately spinning and retiring. But provisional race results for the feature race here at the Australian Grand Prix. Malc takes the win from Owen, Simon Palmer in third. Cameron Searle is in fourth with Mikey in fifth. Martin 6th, Sir Spud 7th, Daryl is in 8th, Ginger Tiger 9th, Pampo in 10th, Nitric Ash is 11th with Atsu. I say Pampo in 10th, Pampo and Nitro, Atsu, Joe, MDJ, Phantom, Keza and Kent all unfortunately retiring from this race. So very much a race of attrition there. I'm just going to quickly ask Malc and Owen for a quick write-up that we can read. But we come to the only person we can actually interview in terms of actually speaking to him. Good evening, Simon. Congratulations on third place. It was that's quite a nice result considering some of the attrition rates of tonight.
Yeah, happy with that, man. Yeah, over the moon with it. Sprint went well, and then feature was going perfectly until the safety car screwed me over, the first one and then the second one as well. But yeah, I can't grumble at a P3.
No, absolutely. Obviously, 4 safety cars in the feature race. I mean, it's difficult enough for a track like this where new tyres are quite important in general just to get your strategy right. But when you've got 4 safety cars, it's an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, having new tyres around here is absolute key. So, you know, any opportunity you can get without losing too many positions, you definitely would want to be putting on new tyres. Yeah, I mean, the race was it was all over the place. Trying to work out who was where and what tyres they were on, whether they still got a box. It was hard work trying to work it out, but. Yeah, you know, I'm over the moon with it. My last ever race with IRL, getting on the podium. So just wanted to say thank you to all you guys as well.
Absolutely. A little bit sad that it's your last race in IRL, because obviously it's always good to see you race, and as you say, rounding off with the podium is not a bad way to do it. I do have to ask though, the little battle with Joe near the end of that race, it was very, very tight. And I did spot there's a touch of contact through the car park. Do you want to just walk us through that one?
Yeah, so I was on the outside coming into the right hander, and I got pushed onto the curb, quite clearly pushed onto the curb, and then I just tried to stick my line on the inside, and there just wasn't enough room there on the inside, so there was a bit more contact, and I think Joe went off, and all of a sudden I could see him come flying across the back of my car. Quite the speed he come across there is a bit confusing, but I'm sure I can have a little look back at that and see exactly what happened there. But yeah, I mean, I was pushed wide initially, and it just made the turn on the left a bit harder.
One final thing. Obviously, unfortunately, you're not racing next week, which is a shame. But since you're the only one I can physically ask in kind of a sort of person, obviously next week is Japan. I mean, what are your thoughts on the Suzuka circuit within the game and stuff like that? And what sort of challenges you reckon the drivers are going to be facing next week?
Japan's one of those iconic tracks, obviously. It's just one of those tracks you just can't lose from the calendar. A bit like your Silverstone, and you just can't lose that track whatsoever. It's going to be a challenge. That can throw up a bit of rain as well. It's going to be a balance for the guys of downforce and straight line speed. Obviously, you need a straight line for going down the back straight through 130R, etc. But then obviously you need the downforce through the S's and in sector 1. So it'll be challenging. It's a shame I'm not racing it because I do like that track, but other commitments I've got to look at going forward now. So yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame the year has come to the end, but that's how it is. And I've known obviously yourself for a long while as well, and Joe and Ginger. And yeah, just thanks to everyone that's been involved. And it was nice to race again for a final season.
Well, congratulations on your podium tonight. We'll have a look, because I know Merckton Owen has sent through some write-ups for me. Merck stating the result was good. Pace wasn't as strong as he thought. He felt like he was quite close on pace. Strategy was all over the place, but still managed to make it work in the end. Too many safety cars, which ruined the flow of the race a little bit, which is unfortunate. He congratulates the rest of the podium. And Owen, we love a good Owen write-up, don't we? As he always starts with a shout-out to the fans. Back-to-back nights for him, saying #bless and #grateful. He says, happy with the race after not doing the sprint. He had decent pace. Early crash wasn't ideal for him, but managed to get back into it. He'd like to think he could have challenged Merckx at the end if MDJ and him didn't have to double stack in the final safety car. He's enjoying racing again, with this being his first week without technical issues in forever. It is good to see Owen back on form, back on the podium, and without anything to hinder him. But that has brought us to the end of the realistic performance coverage for tonight here at the Australian Grand Prix. Congratulations to all the people that did manage to finish this very high attrition race. Obviously, next week we have Suzuka at Japan, Tier 4, Tier 3 on the Monday. Then we have Tier 2 on the Tuesday. Myself and Bruce are back on Wednesday for Tier 1. And myself and Jack should be back next week for the finale of the realistic performance on next Thursday, all at the same time of 8 o'clock. So make sure you join us for those ones. And if you have enjoyed tonight's stream, make sure you give it a like. Give the Invictus Racing League YouTube channel subscribe to it to make sure you don't miss any more live racing action from the rest of the season as we're coming to the end of season 17 and the end of 2023 really for leagues wise. So make sure you don't miss any of it by subscribing to the channel. But from myself, JPH99, thank you all for watching tonight. This has been the Invictus Racing League realistic performance in partnership with gridfinder.com and Venturi Studios. We hope to see you all next week for some more racing here at the IRL.